Hi, ladies. Welcome back to day number 2. Today, we're talking about food and how we should be fueling our bodies right now and the differences in how it used to be as compared to how it is today. So, lots has changed, but we have ways that we can continue enjoying life, eating what we like to eat, and figuring out how to balance all of that so that it doesn't backfire on us as much as it may have been backfiring recently for you. I know that I have really struggled in this area for the last 2.5 years when I moved out here to South Carolina. The month after I moved here, I hit menopause. I had 12 months of no period. And so that pushed me right into post menopause. And it's been quite the adjustment. My body certainly did not feel like it was the same body. It was frustrating. Nobody could give me answers. You guys have heard me talk about this in depth over and over and over again. So I won't bore you with that. But let's talk about some good things that we can change up so that we feel good when we eat. Okay. So there's a lot. Once I started making these notes, there's a lot I want to go over because I have never really fully understood a lot of how food is broken down in our bodies. So I'm not going to get too deep into that, but for me personally, when I understand the whys of things, then it makes sense and I can make changes. If somebody just says, "Oh, you should just do this," that might last me a little while and then it kind of wears off. And then I go back to eating the way that I was eating before or behaving the way I was behaving before. So if you're like that, hopefully this will help you understand why the changes that we're going to be making, we need to make, and that you'll stick to them. So, okay, let's get into this. I'm going to give you a list of everything we're going to cover. Please pull out a piece of paper and a pen because I want you to take some good notes on this. There's a lot of information, but I'll make it as brief as possible. We have a certain amount of protein that we need to be eating every day to help our muscles recover, help our muscles build, and it'll actually help our metabolism and it's going to help our whole overall body composition. That amount of protein that you should be having every day is 0.74 to 1.0 grams per pound of goal weight. So let's say I want to be 150 pounds, then I need to take 0.74 times 150 to get my number of grams of protein that I need to eat per day. Or I can go anywhere between that number and all the way up to 1. So just to make it simple, if I want to be 150 pounds, then I want to eat 150 grams of protein a day. If you're familiar at all with macros, which are your protein, carbs, and fat, that number is probably going to sound a little bit crazy. Now, some people say look at 0.74 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. We're not going to go there. We're going to go for your the body weight that you want to be. That's your goal body weight. That's the number you want to stick to. And it is going to take a while for you to build up to it. So again, have some grace with yourself. It's going to take a little trial and error. It's going to figure out what you like to eat. You're going to be sick of eating certain things that give you a big, powerful protein punch. Just adjust as you can, and please communicate with the rest of us in here if you get stuck. Okay, so 0.74 to 1 gram per pound of goal body weight. So let's keep that in mind here. The next we have prioritize healthy fats. So those healthy fats are like avocado oil, olive oil. I have a couple notes here. Obviously, some basic nuts like almonds, walnuts are huge in like this cool little powerhouse. And omega-3s with your fatty fish, like your salmon, and then also flaxseed. Flaxseed you can put right in your protein shake, and that's a good way to add that. So those are your healthy fats you want to focus on. And again, you're going to probably see all kinds of things out there and what people use. See what works best for you. Do your own research. And because I can tell you just by doing my research, there's a lot of garbage out there. People don't know what they're talking about. So I have done extensive amount of research, and what I'm handing you right now is everything that is up to date and real with how we should be treating our bodies, eating, and physically moving as we go into menopause. So let's see. Our next little category we're going to focus on is your carb intake. So I'm going to get into carbs here in just a minute because that's what I never really understood. Simple, complex carbs, like what's one do for me, and why is one not so great for me, and what happens in the body when you eat food, all of that. So I'm going to break that down here in just a minute. But if you think about it like this, there's simple and there's complex carbs. So imagine if you were on a dating site and you're going to be meeting somebody and they described this guy as being, well, he's kind of a simple guy, or, well, he's pretty complex, he's got a lot of stuff going on, like in a good way. He's smart, he's got a great job, like all these things. The simple guy is not the one you're probably going to be most interested in. I know this is such a lame example, but bear with me. Simple carbs are the carbs that you're going to really try to stay away from. They're your sugar, like your table sugars. They're your high fructose corn syrup stuff. It's your pastries and it's your donuts and it's cakes. It's all the good stuff. Those are the things that you want to steer from. They're going to give you energy right off the bat. They're going to give you a big burst of energy and then you're going to crash. And we don't want that. We want it to be broken down over time so that we can kind of have sustained energy, and be able to kind of move throughout our day feeling not so groggy and just dead after lunch. I know we've all felt like that sometimes when you eat a big lunch, you eat some pasta over lunch, you eat something like that that's like high carb, a sandwich even, and you feel just like, oh my God, I need a nap so bad right now, and you're totally crashing. We don't like feeling like that. So it's best to eat some of those complex carbs. And I'll go into what some of those are here in just a few minutes too. Okay, hydration. Very briefly, it's first of all, just drink your water, room temp or ice. It doesn't matter. You're going to see all kinds of theories out there in regards to that, but just drink your water. Try not to include your tea or your coffee or whatever in there. And yes, you can include soda water, although I love soda water, but soda water, too much of it can also kind of wreck some things. And it's like too much of one thing is just not ever a great thing. So moderation. So have that in there as like a little treat as far as your soda waters go. But as far as hydration goes, you should be take your body weight, divide it by 2, and drink that many ounces. That's your minimum goal. If you want to shoot for 128 ounces or a gallon of water a day, your skin and everything inside and out of you is going to love you for it. So the more water you can drink, the better it is. Now, somebody out there is going to say, but wait, I heard that you can drown from drinking too much water, and your cells can get overloaded, and we do not want to go there. So drinking multiple gallons or even, more than a gallon a day is not necessarily smiled upon. It is, if you can add electrolytes to your water, and I'm not talking about the sugary ones or the ones that have all these additives to it. You can take Himalayan sea salt. They have a big thing of it at Costco, and just give a couple of turns on the lid to that and have that drop into your water. I'm talking like if I have maybe 25 ounces of water and my cup is that big, I might do like 4 or 5 twists of the sea salt into my water. And that's going to help your cells take that hydration in, take that water in, instead of just flooding everything or you just peeing everything out. So if you're going to go the trouble of drinking all that water, make sure that you have electrolytes in your water or at least some Himalayan sea salt. Okay, supplements. I cannot go into that really because it's outside of my scope in regards to what I do, but I do have this recommendation for you. Go and get your blood work done, find out what you're depleted in, and then talk to your physician or go into a very reputable supplement shop that uses very clean, I can't say that enough, very, very clean products, and then get those supplements on board. The things that I like Amazon, but the things that you see on Amazon are probably not the same product that you're getting if you go to that particular website. So if you do want some websites for supplements, I am happy to share those with you. Just message me and let me know. And especially, please just let me know that you have already checked into your blood work and you see where you're depleted, okay? Because that's super important. You don't want to just start, oh, I feel bad and I heard that this helps, I'm going to start taking it. You really want to find out where your body feels best. Our bodies love to be balanced. They love homeostasis. They love healing themselves. They love feeling, like I said, balanced. And so if you're adding too much of something, then your body is going to speak back to you in some way. It's either going to make you feel sick, it will make you sick, or it's going to really shut some things down for a little bit to make you kind of forces you into figuring out what's wrong. So don't go in head first and say, I'm just going to start taking all these supplements because my friends are taking it or I saw that on TikTok or whatever else. Okay. So always get your levels first. Okay. So you've noticed that I haven't talked about calories. I haven't talked about how many fat grams or how many carbs you should be eating a day because I think there are a lot of women out there that get really kind of wrapped up in numbers and things get a little bit weird and then you're obsessed with all the counting or you really hate counting and tracking everything and you just get turned off and you just say forget it and then you kind of blow up the other direction. I personally do not like tracking food. I do it every now and then when I know that I think I'm doing so good and then I'm gaining weight. Then I know that I'm not really being honest with what I'm putting into my mouth. And so if I have myself track it for just a day or two, then I can see it's just kind of a wake up call for me, really, because I think I know deep down inside that I'm not as clean and good at eating as I think I am sometimes. So, especially around, fun events. So I use MyFitnessPal to do that, and I use the free version. If you want to get way more information, you can definitely upgrade to the pro. But I think that the free version does a great job. There's a million different foods in there and I know that you used to be able to scan the food to get the information. You can't do that anymore unless you have the paid version of MyFitnessPal. But again, it's great information at your fingertips. I also recommend you getting one of those small kitchen scales so that you can put your amount on there and really know how much you're eating because that's the biggest wake up call for me. It's always portion size. Always. So I can still be eating like pretty darn clean, but I could be eating like way too much of it. So that's usually the case. Okay, so again, I'm not going to be talking about calories or any other macros, only focused on the protein as far as that goes. But I want to switch over to the carbohydrate scene one more time. And the reason is because, like I was saying earlier, if you understand, then maybe you'll be a little bit more mindful how to kind of limit your intake of certain carbohydrates. I think that when we eliminate completely something out of our diets, odds are we're going to go and seek it out some way, or we're going to have a bad day, or we're going to go through a traumatic event, and we're going to turn to whatever it is that we know we love so much and is so bad for us. And we think, I kind of deserve this right now. I'm going through a really hard time. That's okay, right? We're human. And if that happens, deal with it, forgive yourself, and move on because life's too short to hold on to that regret, right? If you have those days, pick back up as soon as you realize you're having that day. Don't wait until Monday. Don't wait until tomorrow. If it's breakfast and you just had a big old stack of pancakes, maybe for lunch, you kind of go for that salad and the chicken on top for some protein. Just don't wallow in that. When it comes down to carbohydrates, I want to explain what happens to your body when you eat that food. When you put carbohydrates into your mouth, and I'm talking from a piece of fruit all the way to that slice of cake. When you put the carb into your mouth, your stomach will break it down and put it into the bloodstream, and then it sends it all throughout your whole body like a big old highway, and it directs where that glucose needs to go. So carbohydrates converted it into glucose. That glucose is going to go to the cells that need it for energy, for your brain, for thinking, for movement, all those things. That's what it's used for. So when it goes to those cells, it does not have a key to get into the cell. There's no way for it to unlock the door and get in. And so it calls on the pancreas to excrete insulin. So insulin is the little key that lets the glucose, the energy, into your cell. And then your cell has the energy, and you're able to do what you need to do. And that is just plain functioning all the way up to running in a race or doing something big and active. If you're sorry, it's going to take me a second to think through this clearly. If you have too much for those cells, like you have more glucose than you do cells that need it right now for energy, then that glucose is going to be converted into glycogen because it'll be stored for later on. So it's saying, hey, hold on, I don't have any room right now for you. You need to just hang on until I do need you. And that's, again, when it turns into glycogen. Okay. So glycogen is stored sugar, it's that stored glucose. Okay. So that's going to go into the liver and the muscles. So that's where your glycogen is going to be stored. Think of those as two parking lots, great big parking lots, liver, your muscles. So now it goes to those two different parking lots, and you have the key to get into it. But the cells in your muscles and the cells in your liver say, hold on, dude, I don't need you right now. I'm full. The parking lot is full. You have way too much of that going on. So the only place it has to go is to adipose tissue or fat. That's called lipogenesis. So your glucose comes in, it goes to the cell for energy. If that's full, it goes to the liver and the muscles. If those are full, they're going to go to fat, and there they sit. So that's why if you're not being active and using that sugar as you're bringing it in, then it's going to go where it needs to go. And if it's just too much of it, it's going to be stored as fat. And that's what's happening throughout our entire country right now. And so we just store it up in our fat, and it's typically around the middle. And then you have it in the backs of the upper arms, and you have it in the inner thighs, and it just starts spreading everywhere. So adipose tissue is where all that sugar is going to be held when you're eating too much of it. So if you have a bad day and you drink a couple glasses of wine, and then you have, oh, you know what, I'm going to have these pretzels to go with it. And well, wait a minute, I love Cheetos. And then, oh, I need something sugary, so I'm going to eat a Reese's cup. I mean, think about all that's coming in, and you're laying on the couch. So your cells don't need it right now for energy. It's going to go to your muscles. It's going to go to your liver. Do they need it? No. They're full because you haven't burned off what you had in there before. So it's going to go straight into fat. So I hope that helps you kind of understand exactly what happens when you eat carbohydrates. Any carb comes in as sugar, and it goes from there. So you have the power to use that glucose as it comes in. You have the power to use that glycogen as you need it. And it's also in your power to not have an abundance of glycogen turning into fat, right? So take control of what you're putting in your mouth. Understand that if you just want that little dessert tonight, don't worry about it. Have your dessert, because if you hold back, odds are you're going to binge on it later or at another date. So moderation, think about it like that. Of course, if it's something that you shouldn't have because your body is highly angry when you eat it, then stay away from that, right? We know better. Okay, so I'm hoping that does kind of fill you in on how you should be looking at your carbohydrates when you eat them. So let's talk about the different types. We already talked about the simple and the complex. I want you to kind of look at it like eating around your workout time if you're going to have some starchy carbs, because you're going to use it. Your muscles are going to need it. And remember, complex it breaks down over time. So it's not going to give you a big spike and a crash to where, oh my gosh, we have too much, and what do we do? Stick it in fat. We're going to use that over time. So complex, much, much better. Break down over time. If you can get that, like I said, around your workout, even better. I'm not going to worry. I don't want you to worry about how many carbs if you're eating the right carbs. And yes, your body needs carbs, so please don't eliminate your diet of carbohydrates. Your brain needs carbohydrates. Absolutely, bottom line, your brain needs it. Let's see. Anything else I can tell you about the carbs and the protein? I think that's pretty much the gist of it right there. But let's recap. You have protein of 0.74 to 1 gram per pound of goal weight. That's what you should be eating per day. How do you get that? Start with 30 grams per meal. For 3 meals, you're going to get 90 grams right there. I will share with you guys, there should be with this email a worksheet that's going to show you some high protein foods. And that will be for meat eaters and also for vegetarians and vegans as well. So I'll get you that information. Try not to eat after 7 p.m. I know a lot of people talk about intermittent fasting. Everything that I'm reading on it right now, and yes, we're all different. And so, of course, that might differ from person to person. However, the vast majority of women who are postmenopausal should not be doing intermittent fasting. It is Your body is already, already has raised cortisol, which is a stress hormone. And when we have our stress hormone raised, which happens when we are stressed about what are we going to have for dinner? Where are the kids? I've got to answer all these emails. I mean, all these things that are happening where you get stressed out, your cortisol is rising. That causes us to gain weight. That's a very simplistic statement right there, but that's the truth. So cortisol is a stress hormone. It's not good for us to have it elevated. When you're menopausal, it's already elevated and it stays up there. So then you're adding stress on top of it is not a good thing. So we want to keep that as level as we can. And that's going to come tomorrow when we talk about our self-care and how to put ourselves on our list, right? So that we can kind of manage these things. But if you can not eat after 7 p.m., allow your digestive tract to do its work. You want everything to be out of your stomach and into your small bowel. You want it to be moving along out of the way. You have these little guys in there with a name about this long that are like little janitors in your stomach, and they go in there and they do this little squeegee thing on your stomach and getting everything scooped into the small bowel. When you hear your stomach rumble and you're like, I must be starving because, I hear some growling going on. That's actually your body getting everything out of your stomach so that your stomach can reset. Now your small bowel is doing its thing and it goes on from there. So allow yourself the break between times that you eat. So if you find that it works best for you that you're eating a cup more than 3 times a day, you need a snack in between breakfast and lunch and dinner, then make sure that you have at least a couple of hours to allow your stomach to empty itself out. Okay. If you're struggling with getting all the protein in, then there are a couple of snack options. Maybe I'll add those to your list as well. Snack options that are going to give you some extra protein so that you can try to hit that number. Or in a pinch, I turn to my protein powder and mix it in with, I use non-dairy yogurt. Or you can just mix it with water or almond milk, which is what I use in the blender, just a quick little, and then down it, just 8 ounces. I just down it. And that's going to give me anywhere from 20 to 38 grams of protein right there. So easily assimilated in the body. And I don't feel like so full after I have that. So I don't want you to get in the habit of getting your protein from powders and from bars. Bars especially will have a lot of sugar in them and a lot of ingredients that you don't need. So unless you make them at home and you know what you're putting in them and it's all good things for you and how to balance your food, try to stay away from those the store-bought ones. There are some good ones out there, but a lot of them are really filled with a lot of junk. So try to get it from your food. Obviously, that's best. When you put food in your mouth, it's coded. Your food is coded and your cells read the code. So if you put processed food in your mouth, if you put a Twinkie in your mouth and your body's like, what the heck is that? I don't even recognize what this is, because it's not coded. It's not real food. It's a lot of processed ingredients in there that it just doesn't understand or recognize. So the simpler you can make this for your body to work like it should, getting everything in, getting everything out, and utilizing it for maintaining a healthy lifestyle, the better that is. Okay, have I talked your ear off? Okay, so we got protein, we got the other things, we got some examples of what carbs, complex and simple, look like, what food looks like when it enters your mouth, all the way through your digestive system, and I think that's it. So I hope I didn't overwhelm you. I hope I didn't make it more confusing. I expect questions, so please, please, please email me, contact me with your questions. I love helping. So I want to hear back from you guys. And if I didn't cover something that you felt like we should have, please give me a holla. Okay. All right. Tomorrow we talk about self-care, and there's some good stuff in there too. All right. I love you guys so much. Thank you very much for your attention. And I will see you tomorrow. Okay. Love you. Bye.